Okay, and we're back. And Lori and I had an arm wrestle, and she said she won the first one. But we're going to leave you. You want to ask a few questions before we get into what a lot of people I think are interested in is the solar and the net metering changes and stuff. But we were talking about generators. And anyway, so go ahead, fire a few questions off to me.
Yeah, mine's not about generators, but I do have a question for you. I know you follow our work really closely, and you're very knowledgeable about the energy sector. And you call me regularly when there's things you don't like, and you also call me back when things change, because I take action when you call and we fix things, and when I know there's a problem, I'll fix it. So you always call me back and say, thank you for fixing that, or I've seen better performance here, and so I appreciate that. But if you were the CEO of MB Power, when I retire, if you apply for the job with your knowledge, tell me what that would look like and what you might do differently as CEO of MB Power.
This is different than the question that I got. I was only going to be CEO for a day.
Oh, well, be CEO for a day then.
Oh, for a day? No, because I don't have to live with my decisions the
next
day.
No, you got to live with the decisions, and you've got to be interviewed by the media, and you've got to have a podcast with Rudi.
So I don't follow what you do on the day-to-day basis really close, but and I have a tough enough time being the CEO of my own company. I do not envy your position. I actually think I don't think I would take your position for the money that you're paid now. I really don't, because I struggle to come up with solutions. Like the MB Power would be no better off if I was the CEO. But I'll tell you what I would focus on if I had to be the CEO. I think I would everything would be right out on the table. Here are the cards that we have, and here's how we got here. And I would be honest about it. Now, sometimes I don't know all the facts, and I think you don't know all the facts sometimes too, because we hear about, why maybe we had to, what may have happened to the pro because of something in the, we hear it from the boots on the ground, right. What really happened. Yeah. So stuff like that. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. It's in the past. Here's what we've got. Here's where we want to be. And the reality is all our generators need refurbishment, or 2/3 of them or something like that. Mm-hmm. And we're running out of power in the wintertime, and we have these mandates that we have to hit. And I would just be really open to everyone, and I would want to show everyone, how much electricity costs or how much we pay for it when we need it. Like I would want to, super transparent, and I would really want people to understand way more about their electricity. Yeah, you got a big power bill, and you need to figure out why, and I'm going to give you the tools to help you figure that out. But as far as CEO, I can't say if you're doing a good job or a bad job. I don't you have hair left. So, because honestly,
you don't really know what color it is, though.
Let's be honest. From a businessman's point of view, I'm going to be CEO of a company that's rolling in with $6 billion, and $6 billion, that's a big number. Yeah. $6 billion worth of debt, and it's not my fault. This is the cards I've been dealt. You moved into this, but you're paid to be, answer the questions and be accountable to the whole operation. But I'm also looking at all of these projects, and I read an article this morning, and someone said that, it's possible that we could be $30 billion in debt if we do all these projects over the next few years. And servicing the debt on that, from a business point of view, let's say we're not even doing electricity, we're just in some type of business, and even if someone paid off the $6 billion, right. Say we got a bailout, I hate to say it, but I'm still screwed as a CEO of that company. I really am. I can't raise my rates. I can't crank my we need to make a radical change. People would shoot me. That's what would happen if I was a CEO. No, really, this is what has to happen. We have to. This is how much stuff costs, and this is what we've got to do to get there, and we're going to have to pay. It sucks that we're all on electricity, because that's the rates are going to go up. I mean, how else do we do it?
Yeah, well, and those are really good points. And I think I really appreciate your points about being more open and transparent, and that's an area that we do need to improve upon. But I will say, we didn't get here overnight, and we can't get out of it overnight either.
Yeah, I agree.
And we can't put it on the backs of
Can we get out of it?
We can get out of it. Absolutely, we can.
So you have a good attitude.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot better than mine.
And I'm an accountant, so I don't like being
Oh,
$6
are you?
billion in debt either.
That's a huge number.
I know, it is a big number. But the other thing you have to think about is we have $6 billion in assets on our balance sheet,
Okay,
too.
that's my next question.
Yeah.
How much is MB Power worth? If we were to,
So let me just talk first about
sorry.
the assets that we have on our balance sheet. As long as we're a regulated utility, we are always going to have a high amount of debt. And as long as the assets are good assets and they're performing and their value is $6 billion, that's not a problem. And 30 billion isn't either if we have assets worth 30 billion. We just have to make sure that we are maintaining our assets at the same level.
I just don't like paying on debt.
I don't like paying on debt either. And that's unfortunately why our rates have had to go up in the last couple of years. Our rates have been held artificially low for a number of years.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and as a result, we've been pushed against a wall basically in terms of we have to cover our costs of doing business. And we have all sorts of independent oversight. I mean, I've been at the Energy and Utilities Board when they have said, why are you only asking for 2%? I mean, years ago. And we needed more money than that. But the philosophy of the day was push that out to a better day. And while that better day isn't here, we're sitting now with $1 billion worth of deferred maintenance in our assets. And we need to invest in our assets and we need to work on getting our debt down. To have a financially stable utility for the future. So our rates are still, as I said, some of the lowest in Canada, but the bills are high. So we need to help customers determine how they can take charge of their consumption and manage their bills in a better way, because rates are not going down. They're not going down. And they can't go down if we want the utility to be healthy.
I agree. And now if we had different generators with free fuel, and I know people are thinking, oh, I'm leaning towards solar. I'm thinking like 24/7 type stuff, like St. John River's flowing downhill, free fuel. Right? That's why Quebec's is cheap. Am I right?
Yeah, that's absolutely why. Like Newfoundland and Quebec and a lot of other jurisdictions have lower rates because of government subsidies. And other than the HST off the power bills, we are not in the same boat. Nova Scotia, Ontario, they have a number of subsidies from the provincial and federal governments that we don't have.
So how did we get here?
We got here I would say there's a number of things that got us here. One would be political reasons. Rates were held lower than they otherwise should have been. The other big piece of the debt that's sitting on our balance sheet was the refurbishment at La Pro. And
that went $1 billion over.
Yeah, so it was supposed to be an 18-month project that lasted 5 years. It was supposed to be $1 billion, and it ended up being $2.5 billion. And we were the first CANDU reactor to go through a refurbishment. And, in hindsight, a lot of lessons learned, and those lessons learned have been applied in Ontario, where they've taken those and actually been able to do their refurbishments on time and on budget.
So we should send them as consulting fee for breaking trail.
We should get some sort of a royalty or something,
yeah.
I think. But what I would say is when we did the refurbishment, we fixed the nuclear side of the station. So, all of the reactor components, fixed those parts. So let's just say call that the engine. But a lot of the other pieces of equipment in the plant are the original equipment. So pumps and motors and valves. That's what we're doing now. That's what we're doing now. And that's what's caused us the problems coming out of refurbishment as well.
Would you do another CANDU if we could CANDU it again?
Well, I think there's some analysis that needs to be done to support what we do next. A 700 megawatt unit on our system, when it goes down, we have to have something sitting in the background ready to go up. So it's a lot of risk on the system when a large unit like that goes down.
Do you have some heads up when it does, though?
No. But we've got Mac to Quack, one of my favorites. So we just open the gates and the water flows. So you need something when you've got a big unit like that, right?
Yeah.
You've got to be able to have something sitting ready to go on, and so that there isn't anything, the power doesn't go out or we have a blackout.
Right.
We have something sitting ready and waiting in case a unit goes down.
And that's a part of the whole puzzle that I don't understand a whole lot is like grid synchronization and keeping all these things.
Sink condensers.
Yeah, that's what you said earlier. So and I mean, we've never had to learn that stuff, and I guess people might not care, but I mean, I'm interested in that type of thing and why certain things have to happen and why we need this in place and that place, and so.
And we have regulatory oversight as well, whether it's Federal Energy Regulator, the North American Reliability Council, the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission. There's so much oversight that happens to make sure that all of those units are running reliably and safely. Because we can take the grid down in other provinces if we do something wrong as well. So we're all connected.
Yeah, the point I'm just trying to say. Do you remember Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny? And he went into the big hall and he became the conductor.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's like. Sometimes you need over here. You need the string, the guy in the bass or the lady in the bass playing. And then you need your flutes. And
This is all your generators.
you need to have it all singing in harmony. Is what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
everything's out of tune, and then you're in a mess. And that's the hard part about the job is trying to make sure we can run that complicated orchestra to the best way possible. And the team spends all day, every day, trying to figure out how are we going to serve New Brunswickers at the lowest cost possible. Just because you have generators in your fleet doesn't mean you want to run them, right? So there's a cheaper way to get that power to the customer. That's what we're interested in.
Right. And we do economic dispatch, so we bring the cheapest units on first, and we only bring on our most expensive
Right,
units
and,
when
and
we
people
need
need to see that.
Yeah.
I think it would be really
to.
cool.
Yeah, I
to
like
see
that idea. Yeah.
So do you remember on Pirates of the Caribbean when Jack Sparrow was rolled in a ship and it was sinking, and he just walked off onto the dock
Yep,
and just kept going?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. So
We're not
Power
a
is
sinking
not a
ship.
sinking ship.
so well, no, we need to convince the audience that it's not.
Well, Lori was saying, though, our debt is related to our assets, right? It's kind of like your customers. When they invest in a solar system, right, they usually take on money on their credit line or get a loan or get something to pay for that. Maybe some have it in their bank account, but either way is they say, I took that money, now I have that thing I can point at on my roof or in my field or whatever.
Right.
And
We're
think
not
the
funding
other,
our operations with that.
The other thing I would
But
tell
they
you.
didn't start with $6 billion in the hole, though.
Oh, no, that's
No,
right.
no, but it's relative.
But our assets in the regulatory environment, it's very different than the private sector. You might try to pay your mortgage off as quickly as possible when you have a mortgage or if you have a mortgage. And a lot of customers would do that, or a lot of New Brunswickers would do that. In a regulated environment, we have to take that asset and pay it off over its complete life because you want to make sure.
It just makes more sense.
Well, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
It's levelized. It doesn't cause
Exactly.
rates to go up or down. And this whole intergenerational equity thing where you want the customers who are going to benefit from the asset to be paying part of that asset over time. So you wouldn't try to pay it off early. You pay it off over the life of the asset. So we've got Beldoon, for example. Right now, Beldoon won't be paid off until 2041, and that's by design.
Yeah.
That's by design, so
Exactly.
that we make sure that we recover the costs over the whole life of the asset. So
long
by
as
the
there's hopefully
time
no
we shut it
surprises.
off, no
right?
surprises. Yeah.
From the federal government.
Yeah.
or whatever.
Well,
So-
they can also provide opportunities. So we're also asking the federal government, the policies are changing. It's putting increasing pressure on rates. Is there anything you can do to help us with this transition
Right.
as well?
So back to my sinking ship. I mean, I know you thought that I was thinking that it might have been a sinking ship, but what I was alluding to is, do you think that part of the problem was, and I've heard this from many people who are retiring from MB Power, not my problem. We'll just push that problem down the road, and I'm just jumping off. I got my pension. See you later. Good luck with that, kids. And you think that might have something to do with where we're at now?
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. I haven't
Because you're going to be put in that position.
Yeah.
I don't know when you plan to retire.
Yeah.
Hopefully you stick around for a while because you seem pretty good at your job, and you know. So.
I didn't know when you answered the last question whether you thought that or not. But
Well, honestly, I don't have. I
know.
don't dig in
Just teasing.
that much, right?
Yeah.
So
But
I mean,
that is not what I hear from employees. Most of the employees that are leaving right now
well, they're
are
not going to tell you.
vested. Right? No, you can't. They're not going to tell me that.
They're not going to tell you that.
But they're very knowledgeable and invested in the utility. They were there when a lot of these plants were built, and they've seen them through their whole life.
Yeah.
But I think we have enough checks and balances in the system that one person can't say, it's pushing that problem down the road, not my problem to solve. And we've got a lot of really young people working at the utility now that want to do the right thing. They just may not have the years of experience or the proficiency that they need to do the work. But I don't know that that's the case.
You don't like the
people
analogy.
are trying to.
I don't like it either.
That analogy.
That's my ship too.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
But
We're
I
all
don't
in this
think people
together.
are trying to push it down the road. What we've pushed down the road is we haven't covered our costs of doing business. And that we need to cover.
It's been a long
costs.
while since we've made money on selling a kilowatt hour. Would I
Yeah.
be correct in saying that? Every kilowatt hour we've sold in the last 20 years, we've been losing money on.
I wouldn't say
No.
that. Yeah.
Like, what was the debt 20 years ago?
So debt was building assets. So just so we're clear, right? Like the
Like
analogy.
your net worth is going up, you think, over time?
That's been stable. So what I'd say is the rates are covering the cost of running some of the business, but we're not getting ahead on the debt. Right. So we've been kind of nursing that along.
So
It's
we're
been
starting.
pretty
We got her
stable.
in neutral. We're not going on vacation anytime soon. We're still
Well,
saving.
and I would say neutral, but that's going up with Mactaquac too. We've got $9 billion project in front of us.
Yeah, and
that's
a good job for
bringing
tackling that
Yeah,
stuff because we got to.
Oh, we have
Otherwise,
to. There's no do nothing option
It's
there.
going to fall apart on us, right?
Well, it's a reliability issue now. We can't run all the units as efficiently as we can. We could.
So this refurbishment, I'm just going to jump onto Mactaquac for a second. Does that include? It's almost $10 billion. I think it's not nine was one of the highest.
$9 billion, yeah.
So and then of course as we push it down the road, it'll probably get more expensive as we delay, because nothing ever gets cheaper unless it's solar. That's been pretty good. So what does that include? Is that just the generators? Is that concrete?
Turbines, generators, concrete.
Concrete as
And
well.
then other wearable components. And I think good for the listeners to know that the turbines and generators were at end of life anyway.
Yeah.
So 50 years into they're past their useful life. So they needed, whether or not there was an AAR, alkaline
It's
aggregate
planned.
reaction problem at the station, we would have had to replace those
But the
turbines and
swelling wasn't
generators.
planned.
The swelling was not planned, and that's the biggest part of the work that we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, the civil work. And, that's a big project when you're spending $9 billion and you're not getting a huge increase in the number of megawatts. We'll get some efficiency out of the new turbines, but not getting a lot of increased megawatts. So that will raise our rates. And again, we're going to recover that over the next 50 years. So we're going to spend $9 billion and no intention to recover it any quicker than that because of the regulatory environment in which we work.
Right. So that refurbishment, that's how long is that going to take? It's 10 years?
It's about a 12 to 14 year project. And I don't like to call it a mega project. I like to call it 14-year maintenance project because we're going to do the good thing about the way we're going to do this is you can do one turbine at a time. And if you run into problems or if you learn new things,
The last one will go faster.
I will build in efficiencies and
So
our
speaking of going
learnings.
faster, that dam was built in 3 years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Apparently,
Yeah.
So, and now we're going to refurbish it, and it's going to take 12.
Well,
I wonder what the difference is.
Well, the difference is we're going to be running a plant while we're refurbishing the plant at the same time. So we have to keep all the other units open and operating. And we're looking after the fish while we're doing that too. So there's fish passage.
Yeah, I think
that
there
has
was a
to be
story
maintained.
on fish there the other day, the dam. Yeah.
So it's very complicated when you're trying to replace the concrete structures and the turbines and generators, and you have a construction site going on here, and you're operating the plant over here as well. And I think the rules and laws and safety and all of those things have
It
changed
slows
over
things
the
down.
years. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
but
for
for the
sure.
right reasons. Yeah.
We don't want to kill anyone.
That's right. Not on my watch.
Depends who it is.
Yeah.
No,
No, not on my watch.
no, here. Okay, so we've talked about the generators. We talked about MB Power. We talked about that. We talked about all the boring stuff. Maybe my line of work. So what else would we like to talk about? I want to talk about peak. I want to talk about the net metering policy. That's proven to be kind of controversial. And I guess, Brad, you're kind of behind that. So maybe should we take a little break before we keep going? How close are we? We'll take a little break? Okay. And then we'll come back and we're going to dive into the solar and the net metering and the offensive side of things. So thanks.